anniversary of the Great Fire, the event that shaped modern Chicago, giving the city its identity of strength and perseverance, a place that makes no little plans.
But given a clean slate to rebuild the city from the ground up, how did those in power shape society? It's a question WGN's Mike Lowe is asking scholars, historians, and experts in part 2 of A Distant Fire.
Chicago built the tallest building in the world, reversed the flow of a river, and put a refrigerator in the end zone.
Another Super Bowl record, the first refrigerator to score.
It's been home to the world's most notorious criminal and the globe's most gifted athlete.
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win!
So when it comes to disasters, Chicago's had to be the biggest.
First of all, if Chicago's going to have a fire, it's going to have the biggest fire. And secondly, it's going to be great.
There are a lot of reasons why Chicago was important, but the fire gave it almost a fairy tale, which is incredible because the fire was devastating.
The story of the Great Chicago Fire is remembered in a certain Chicago way, with some civic pride and competitive nature.
Chicago is trying to prove itself to be as good, if not better, than some of the cities that came before, some of the ones that were declared world-class cities before Chicago had a skyline that matched them.
In many ways, the story is as remarkable as the well-known myth. The fastest growing city in the country, situated on Lake Michigan and connected to the Mississippi River, was the country's center of commerce and communication, home to the stockyards, to industry, and the railroad hub of America. The fire that started in Catherine O'Leary's barn on October 8, 1871, and then swept across the downtown and north side, destroying virtually everything in its path, left the city looking like a bombed-out war zone or some sort of ancient ruin. And within 20 years, it was all built again, hosting the grandest World Fair in history, and the population had more than tripled to 1 million people.
It's largely a story of remarkable destruction and remarkable recovery.
Northwestern University professor Carl Smith is the author of Chicago's Great Fire. He said the calamity revealed the city's character of strength and resilience, but it also revealed some difficult truths that aren't always discussed when we remember the fire's great triumph.
In a kind of darker way, it also reveals and deepens some of the existing class and social tensions of the time as well.
You think at moments in history, like a great fire, being something to rally around. And yet we find out as we move on that oftentimes something that should bring everybody together only emphasizes the problems that we have and doesn't solve them.
Adam Rubin of the Chicago Architecture Center has been trying to separate the myths from the facts as we remember the fire on its 150th anniversary.
There's a lot of power to a myth. There's even a lot of truth to a myth. When we have the luxury to look back 150 years, and we're growing as a people and trying to think about how we tell stories and how we are more representative and how we elevate voices of people whose voices were not included when the story of the fire was first being recorded, we can come to it with a little bit more of a critical eye.
The Chicago that burned was a city of problems, both structural and social. The Chicago that was rebuilt fixed some of those structural weaknesses, but left many of the social divisions by design.
They approached their work in terms of rebuilding the pre-fire status quo. So the inequalities, the divisions that existed before the fire, instead of trying to remedy those, they actually went about rebuilding those.
Chicago History Museum curator Julius Jones says there's a parallel to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We wanted to do is provide a historical example of a lesson that in a lot of ways we should not follow, right? We should not sort of try to rebuild the pre-pandemic status quo because we understand that the pandemic itself exposed some of the deficiencies of that, and that instead we should really think imagine holistically about building a more inclusive and equitable city, country, world coming out of the pandemic.
The Great Fire also revealed a time-tested tendency to blame the other, or immigrants, for any problem that arises in an established society.
This was, in many ways, what we want sometimes. When something happens like this, we want to know why, and we go first to the things we already believe. So, yes, this clumsy Irish woman confirms our ideas. They turned her into the scapegoat and the city the victim, when in fact she is basically the longest enduring victim of the Great Chicago Fire.
The city was also rebuilt to explicitly keep racial groups separated, a legacy that lingers today.
Racism is always there. It changes its form, it changes what it looks like, it changes its language, but you still see stratification and you still see divisions in terms of class and in terms of economic status and of race. And it's one of the burdens that Chicago has carried with it from the very beginning.
There is also a tendency in telling the Great Fire story to condense history, using it as a before and after pivot point, when the reality is reforms and innovations took decades. Fire codes, for example, were not immediately changed. The reality is Chicago suffered several catastrophic fires in the years after the Great One, including the Iroquois Theater fire, in which twice as many people were killed in just one building than died in the entire Great Fire.
Not all of it necessarily is a direct result of the 1871 fire. That's where we've condensed time and kind of turned this into a myth where one thing happens and then everything happens after that. We were moving towards an era of reform at this point anyway.
But the fire endures as Chicago's founding mythology, the idea of an unconquerable city and one that can do anything and overcome any obstacle.
It is a part of the fabric of our city. A lot of good has come from perpetuating this idea that Chicagoans are tough and can do anything. And this is not a moment to say, yeah, but none of that is important. It is important, but so is telling a broader story.
The reality is more complicated. It's a growth that occurs in fits and starts. It's a growth that leaves some people behind, and those were some of the elements we wanted to communicate as well in this exhibition.
It is a spirit that still glows in the memory of a distant fire. Mike Lowe, WGN News.
Very informative. Tom Skilling's tracking summer-like weather in October. There's even warmer weather on the way for the weekend. Your full forecast less than 10 minutes away.
Also,